My teaching experience to a Year 12 Catholic Studies class presented issues with ICT management in the classroom. With consideration of the fact that the class would be soon undertaking their HSC, I thought it appropriate to implement teal writing to improve paragraph structuring techniques. I instructed the class to use their electronic devices to construct and submit their paragraphs. Although the integration of ICT assisted in the collection of work in an organised and timely manner, managing student behaviour proved challenging. As I communicated the use of laptops for the learning activity, some students became distracted. As I instructed students to begin the activity, I noticed that many were off task and demonstrating unethical use of ICT. When implementing the use of ICT in the classroom, it is important that I establish and communicate clear and concise expectations and task instruction, and plan relevant activities that allow room for modifications, disturbances, and misbehaviour. Planning to engage and manage students in a manner that conveys positive expectations and an understanding of students will prevent behavioural issues in the classroom. My lack of understanding of the need to set equitable and consistent classroom rules impacted the effectiveness of the assigned task. By discussing Evertson and Emma's suggested classroom rules at the beginning of the lesson, students will understand the grounds for both positive and negative reinforcement in regard to technological misconduct. B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning theory suggests strengthening and weakening voluntary behaviour through immediate behavioural reinforcement. Cantor's interventionist approach and Doyle's ecological perspective identify the essentiality of organised instruction, establishing classroom expectations, and implementing corrective procedures to maximise students' access to learning and exercise control over students. In being clear with my expectations, I provide myself the opportunity to logically consider suitable behaviour management strategies specific to the difficulty. Although I believed the task was highly relevant to the cohort and achieving the outcomes, their disinterest and disengagement proved otherwise. In light of Arthur Kelly's suggestions to setting relevant tasks, I believe the instructions I gave lacked detail and specificity. I wrongly assumed that students were proficient in applying the teal structuring method and so did not discuss or exemplify the technique. The task's poor introduction and lack of achievability, along with the distraction of technology, resulted in avoidance of the task. The individual and silent nature of the task defied Piaget and Vygotsky's constructivism theories, along with Dan Vliet's research, which suggests that higher levels of academic performance, motivation, and engagement are achieved best by students who partake in cooperative learning and social interaction. Considering students were unfamiliar with the teal technique, a collaborative approach would aid in grasping this new concept. Thus, allowing opportunity for social interaction and active participation with one another would have proven more effective. Feedback that I received from my supervising teacher suggested that I work on limiting the distractions in the classroom. She praised my movement around the classroom and noticed that it prompted students who were off task to get back to work. She suggested incorporating the school's 45-degree rule into the classroom, which requires students to keep their laptops half closed during instruction. Although I explained a teal paragraph to students individually, the work samples demonstrated the lack of understanding of the new concept. After receiving the constructive feedback, I became aware of the consequences that my poor instruction and inconsistent expectations had on student learning. In order to achieve Standard 2.6 of the Australian Professional Standards for Teaching, I must be clear and consistent with my high expectations of ICT conduct in the classroom. I will commence lessons of my future practice with strong body language and establish and communicate concise behavioural expectations using Evertson and Emma's classroom rules. I will maximise my movement around the classroom so that I can monitor the students' devices and respond promptly and consistently to misconduct to minimise voluntary misbehaviour. To achieve Standard 4, I will plan relevant tasks and provide clear directions so that I may consider all possible distractions and disinterest in the activity at hand. I will guarantee inclusive student participation by planning and implementing task modification and appropriate behavioural management strategies. Clear communication will ensure student understanding of the task at hand and reduce the likelihood of student disengagement. In doing so, I will create an environment of mutual respect where learning is enjoyable and achievable and the safe and ethical use of ICT is exhibited.
Created using Powtoon.